Hi, dear students. Let me welcome you to this lesson on education, Unit 1, Formal, Informal, Non-Formal Education. In this unit, we'll be having a little introduction into the theme of this unit. Then we're going to have a look at vocabulary, especially collocations related to the theme of education. Then communication or functions, making and responding to requests. Then grammar, the point is gerund and infinitive. Finally, we'll be talking about writing and more specifically linking words. Well, let's start with these three pictures. First question, what's common between these pictures? Have a look at them all, think about them, pause the video, then get back to check your answers. That's right. So these three pictures, all of them are talking about education and learning. So the first picture, we have three kids watching TV, and of course they are having fun and at the same time learning new things. Students in the classroom, in the second picture, of course they are learning, participating in the classroom, and we have women fighting illiteracy and learning how to read and write. Now, question number 2, what is education? Think about it, do some research, pause the video, get back to check your answers. Well, education refers to a lifelong, never-ending process of learning and acquiring new skills, values, knowledge, experiences, and information via different means and tools. The key words in this definition are lifelong, process, learning, skills, values, knowledge, experiences, and information. And of course, all of this can be done in different ways, using different tools. You can learn at home, you can learn at school, you can learn in a club or with an association. Question number 3. Match each type of education to its appropriate picture. We've got 3 types of education: formal, informal, non-formal education. We would like to have each type of education to be matched with the right appropriate picture. Take some time, think, and then get back to check your answers. So, the second picture is formal education. Because it is in a school, they have a program and they will sit for an exam, and at the end they will get a certificate. Watching TV at home, this is part of informal education. You are learning, you are discovering new things. It's part of education, but it is done in a free way at home with family and free activities. Then women learning how to read and write in an association or in a mosque or in a club or in a house, all of them, they are doing that in its part of education, and it is called non-formal education. Well, let's have a little exercise to make sure we understand these 3 concepts and 3 types of education. We have here some pictures. I'd like you to think about them and label and categorize them. You label them, that means you see what you have there, and then categorize them, you match them to the three types of education we talked about. Think about it, pause the video, and come back to check your answers. So the first picture, these are newspapers and magazines. This is a high, or we call it as well secondary school. Kids watching TV at home. This is an evening class. It's going to be an evening class. It's going to be a work training class. Literacy class, or illiteracy fighting illiteracy. This is a classroom. It's going to be an English classroom, geography classroom, or any other subject. This is theatre. Now, time has come for us to think about the different types of education for each picture. Think about it, pause the video, and come back to check your answers. Well, the first one, this is part of informal education. Reading books, magazines, newspapers, and browsing the net, all of this is part of informal education. It's personal. High school, this is formal education. They have a schedule, they have a program, and they sit for exams and they get certificates and degrees at the end. Watching TV at home is part of informal education. An English classroom or a classroom, generally speaking, that's part of formal education. Theatre, it's informal education because it's free, it's personal. While women fighting illiteracy in an association is part of non-formal education. Well, for evening class or workplace training workshop can be formal or it can be non-formal education. Now, let's try to get deeper and try to get definition for each type of education. So I'm going to read the three definitions, and you're supposed to think about the appropriate type of education for each definition. The first one, it refers to learning through a program, but there is no evaluation and there is no certification. Number two, it refers to learning resulting from activities related to daily life, family, or leisure. The third one, it refers to learning that takes place in a school, an adult training center, or in the workplace. This type of education is generally recognized in a qualification or a certificate. Give it a thought, pause, get back to check your answers. So the first one is non-formal education because it has a program, but generally speaking, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have an evaluation system or a certificate or a degree at the end, though sometimes they do that. Informal education for the second definition, as it is part of daily life, family, and leisure. So it's personal and it's free. The last one is formal education because it is taking place in a school or an adult training or workplace, and generally it is recognized in a qualification or certificate. And of course, students sit for exams. Right, now have your say. In your opinion, which type of education is better? Which type of education do you prefer and why? So the task that I want you to do is this. First of all, choose one type of education. Then write down your reasons. Then you write your presentation. and then get ready to share it with your classmates, if you have any, or share it with your family members, or share it with a friend, or you can film yourself using your phone, or you can talk to your mirror, or if nobody else is there, you can talk to yourself. The presentation can be just something very simple like this. Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I'm happy to be here to share with you my point of view concerning which type of education is better. Well, I think that, and here of course you include one of the types of education we talked about. So, for example, I think that informal education is the best for a number of reasons. First, and then you go the first reason. Second, you give the second reason. Third, you give the third reason, etc. And in the conclusion, if you wish, you can add the other types of education. You can say, for instance, that though we have informal education for me is the best, formal education also is very interesting, you can add something like this. You are free, it's your presentation. Well, that's it for this lesson. I wish you the best of luck. Stay tuned.